All right. Hey guys, Miss Franowski here. I have Christian with me. Um, he is the person I introduced you to last week, and now we are going to ask him the questions that you guys came up with during class last week. So
Hi
first,
guys. Uh,
go ahead, go ahead.
no, I just wanted to thank everyone for coming up with these questions, and hopefully I help you guys out a lot.
Um, so first question, can you tell me more about your accident and how did it change your outlook on life?
Sure. So my accident, I'm not sure how much you guys know about it, but so I was snowboarding when I was in high school. I was a senior in high school. I was 17 years old, and I broke my neck. I was jumping and landed wrong. So it was a big change in my life. It changed my outlook a whole lot. There might be some things that I might have had plans that might not be the same as they were originally. Before my accident, I liked to play soccer a lot, and I went snowboarding a lot. So of course, physical things had to change a lot. But as far as my outlook, it did not change too much. Still had plans to go to college and do different things, get a job. And currently, I have a job, and I went to school, and um, kind of have the same outlook.
So, where did you go to school and what do you do now?
Where did I go to college? Or
Yes.
Okay, I went to college at Marywood University. I went to school for social work. I have my bachelor's degree as well as my master's degree. And currently I'm a social worker. So basically what I do is I work with high school students. I have students that are from 14 years old to 21 years old. And a lot of them have different disabilities. Some of them have autism, some of them have physical disabilities, all different things. And basically, what I do every day is I'll meet with them if they're having a rough day, if they're having something going on at home, or they might have gotten to a fight with a classmate or their boyfriend or girlfriend, or they might have a lot of homework to do, and it's just overwhelming them. I might help them out with that. So we'll meet in my office and chat things out and kind of make them feel better about their day.
Awesome. That sounds like a very rewarding.
Definitely.
So, next question that we had are what were the first types of assistive devices that you used?
So the first assistive device, and somebody might not always think of this being an assistive device, but the first assistive device that I used was my wheelchair. So I have a higher level injury, which means that I'm not able to use my arms as much. I'm not able to use my legs, but I also can't use my arms. So I could use them a little bit, but I have to use an electric wheelchair to get around. So using my wheelchair with the joystick and driving around, that was the first assistive device that I had to use.
All right. And what do you think is the most helpful device that you have or that you use?
So this I'm guessing that you want this to be a really exciting, interesting question answer, but actually the most helpful device that I use and the most creative device is what I'm using right now. So on my hand, I have a little splint with a pencil at the end. And I kind of created it with just thinking of it on my own. And what I use it for every single day of my life, not every single day, but every day that I work, I use it to type on my computer. So my hands don't work as well to type, hit all of the buttons. And I love to play video games on my computer. I love to type. Well, I have to type at work. So pretty much every single day, I'll use this little thing, which I should probably market and start selling to make some money. But I use that every day to type on my computer, to use my mouse. Um, and that helps an awful lot for using the computer.
That is awesome because I'll share this with you afterwards. A lot of the things that our students made in this class were devices to help people, small handheld devices, like you're saying, to help people either type or write. Very
Awesome.
similar to that.
Yeah, and they're all created by usually the user
That's awesome.
or student or something like that. Cool.
So I know in the pictures that you sent, you had some pretty cool things. You had a bike. You were, I don't know if that was considered water skiing or wakeboarding,
Yep.
and also snow skiing or snowboarding. I'm not sure.
Assistive skiing,
Yeah.
they call it.
So which is your favorite device to use?
So after my injury, one thing that has happened to my body is I get cold really easily. So prior to my injury, even though snowboarding was my favorite thing to do ever, it's a little rough now because I get cold so easily. So um, I really, really enjoy doing the sit skiing and using that as assistive device. But I would probably say my favorite is the hand cycle that I use. The photo of me using the hand cycle to go on a trail. So I like to do that. I don't own one, but I have friends that own a bunch. We have an organization, a group that we have some of them, and we're able to use them whenever we want. I love using that because it gives me a great workout. It gets me moving my arms and things like that, as well as I'm able to ride my bike with my friends, my family. I'll go out with my girlfriend, different things like that. So it's really a quick, usable uh, device that I don't really need much help from other people.
Awesome. I know, I think the device that the students were most impressed by was the water skis.
Okay.
So how did you find it to use those? Was it easy? Was it hard? And who made them?
So what they do is that's an assistive device that they have for all different abilities of a person. So, like I said earlier, how I use my electric wheelchair, I don't have as much use of my arms. So, they can adapt that to be able to use with somebody who has good control of their arms, but it's also usable for somebody who might not be able to use their arms as well. So, what I first tried to do when I used that assistive device was hold on to the rope while water skiing with my arms. I kind of hooked my arms into the rope and I would let that pull me. Well, what I found out is when that happened, I went flying forward and kind of left the device. So that didn't work because I just did not have enough strength to hold myself down in the ski. We call it a water ski. So what we did was we attached it to the front of the ski. So maybe in the photo you might be able to see that the rope is going to the ski as opposed to me. So my arms were free and pretty much just it's attached to the ski. So it's really cool, and I'm able to go around the lake as many times as I want. I don't need to do as much work as if I was holding on to it. So I pretty much just kind of sit back and enjoy the water shooting up in my face on a hot day, and it's a real lot of fun. The scary part is getting up because you could lose your balance and stuff. I have two people next to me while I'm going around just in case I lose it or something. They're able to help me out, but it's a really great assistive device.
Awesome. It looks like a lot of fun. Um, I know what I was thinking of. Who makes these devices, or where do you get them from?
So these devices, and I'll talk about all of them are custom made because a lot of big companies don't really have an investment. They don't need to make these because a lot of companies what they're truly interested in is how much money they're going to make, and there's not a really big market for assistive devices. So oftentimes it'll be created, a company might start out of somebody who might have had a brother that was in a wheelchair and wanted them to get back on the slopes, or they wanted them to go water skiing. So it might be a brother, it might be their father that was in a wheelchair, or whatever, and then they get the interest, um, and then they will go forth from there. I'll give you an example. So um, I had a video game controller. Unfortunately, I didn't have any pictures to share with you guys, but it's to play PS3 or PS4. Anything I could adapt it for whatever, but I'm able to use my mouth to play the games. I could blow into it, I could suck into it, press different buttons with my mouth, and it acts like a video game controller. Some of my favorite games are FIFA, Battlefield, Call of Duty. I'm sure some of you guys might be familiar with that. Um, so this started from a guy that lives in Montana, and he started a very, very small company. He doesn't have a lot of people that buy them, but he does have people that are very interested. And he started doing it because he worked with people with disabilities. He also worked with Atari, which is an old video game company back when I was a baby. So he worked for that company, and he also knew people with disabilities, and he knew people with disabilities were interested in video games. So he kind of used some of his smarts and his engineering to come up with this device that he created, and found out that people are interested in buying it. So then he started marketing it on a small level, but still all throughout the country he sells this device.
Awesome. Um, that's really interesting because that's what a lot of our students are doing. They're taking tasks that they like to do and they're adapting them for somebody who may not be able to do them. So it looks
Cool.
like what they're doing is related to a future career if they want it to be.
Absolutely, totally.
Do you get scared when you have to try a new task like water skiing or something like that? Do you get scared?
Definitely. And I would say I get scared when it's something a little more dangerous, like water skiing or skiing. But I think if somebody that's able bodied is going to go skiing for the first time, they're a little scared. So, those average things that I do get scared about. But there's definitely, I get scared, first day of school, first day of work, if I'm going to be doing a new thing at work. It's a little scary coming up with new ways to do it. Basically everything I do every single day is a little different than I might do if I was able bodied and, using my hands fully. So basically what you have to do is do it. And it's like that the Nike motto, just do it. And you just got to do it. And the number one thing that I learned, it's been 13 years since I've had my accident. You can't be afraid of screwing up. So you just have to do it. You got to give it a try. You're probably going to screw up. You might drop something on the ground. You can't be afraid to ask for some help every now and then. And that's exactly what you have to do. And if you're not going to do that, if you're afraid of screwing up and if you're afraid of asking for help, then I'm not going to get anywhere. So, I got to get over that, which I did. And it's been helpful ever since.
That is great advice for anybody, I think.
For sure.
Devices that you wish you had that haven't been created yet or that you don't have.
Um, So before my accident, I like to go hunting. I went for deer hunting. They do have an assistive device for hunting to shoot a gun. So that is something that I would be interested in maybe getting. It's pretty expensive. It's about $1,000. So, it's not my priority of things to purchase and, get, but that might be something that I'm interested in. Um, Also, possibly I would like, this is an assistive device if you think about it, but self-driving cars, that's a really big thing that people are talking about. You might see it on the news. The car company Tesla, they have self-driving cars. They're definitely not perfected yet, but I think that there's a lot of potential for people that are disabled to be able to own one and use it. Um, so, I'm really, really interested to see where that goes and to see how that would benefit people with disabilities.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of self-driving cars being used for people with disabilities, but that is a very good point. It would give them a lot more independence
Totally.
for sure. And last question, how do you deal with people who may give you funny looks because of your wheelchair?
Sure. Well, that's something that you might get, and I work with people with disabilities all the time. I work with people that are have autism. I work with, people who might not be sure how to react to a person in a wheelchair. Um, so what I've done, I've learned this throughout my years of having a disability, and I pass um, this advice on to other people who might be a little newer injured, um, to not be phased by funny looks. Um, you're going to have that. You're going to have maybe somebody saying, "Why are you in a wheelchair? Why don't you walk?" Or, "Mommy, what's wrong with him?" Something like that. And the best thing that I could do, and I am definitely an educator myself. I'm kind of a teacher where I work. Um, I teach people about my injury. I teach them about what happened to me. I'm always welcoming of questions, and the key thing is not to get frustrated about it. Sometimes I do get frustrated. Especially if they're adults who might know better. Um, but if that's the case, I'll usually give them a funny look back.
Good advice there. And yeah, so you just kind of brush it off and don't let it bother you then, right?
Absolutely,
All right. Well, I think that was all the questions we had. Thank you again for taking the time to
absolutely,
answer these questions for our class.
sure thing. My pleasure.
All right.